reader friends, what is up? I know I haven't posted on YouTube in such a long time. I have been insanely busy. October was such a busy month for me. I work and I'm a student, so I've got a lot going on. I did only read 4 books in October, which I know we're not like measuring by how many books you read. Usually I do read a little bit more than that. I have been in kind of a reading slump, and I think it's just because I've been so busy. Also, if you notice this on my forehead, I burned my forehead with my curling wand over the weekend, so just pretend it's not there, okay? I don't want to cover it with concealer because I honestly just don't care enough to cover it with concealer. So I did read 4 fabulous books in October, and I'm also going to share my November hopefuls. I feel like calling them November hopefuls is a better idea because I really don't know if I'm going to get to them. Hopefully it's going to slow down a little bit for the next 2 months because the holidays are coming up. I'll be on Christmas break. So we also have 6 books to show you for my TBR. Technically 7 because there's a new release that you probably know that I'm going to bring up that I'm definitely going to read this month. The first book I read in October was The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni. I heard a lot of people talking about this recently and I just really wanted to read it. This is a fantasy series. This is the first book about a girl named Kiva. She's a prisoner at this prison called Zalindov, and she's been there for like 10 years. The prison is really all she knows because she's only like 17 or something like that. But she's the prison's healer, so she works in the infirmary and helps heal the prisoners and also cater to the prisoners, or like the new prisoners that are coming into the prison. The rebel queen arrives. She's not loved by most. Kiva has been warned by more than one person that she needs to keep her alive, so she does all these things to keep her alive. She ends up having to go through these trials. I ended up giving this a 4.5 stars. It is literally not even 400 pages, I don't think, or it's just a little bit over 400 pages, and I love that for a fantasy. I feel like for the first book in a fantasy series, especially if it's going to be a series, having it be not super long is perfect. I don't know, it's very intimidating to pick up a 700-page book of a fantasy series and you're just like, what am I getting myself into, you know? I know people don't really like talking about plot twists because they feel like it ruins the book, but this one has a lot of them. I just have to say that because it really plays into my rating for the book. I did have some feelings on the pacing of the book, but other than that, I really loved it. This is a 3-book series, and each book really isn't super long, so I definitely think if you like fantasy, you should read this because it was really good. Then I read Reckless by Elsie Silver, and this is the 4th book in the Chestnut Springs series. I gave this a 5 stars. I absolutely love this book. It was in my last reading vlog, so go watch that. I don't know what it was about this book, but I loved Theo and Winter. This book focuses on Winter, who is Summer's sister. Summer is the female main character in the first book, Flawless, and Theo, who is also a bull rider. And then you see that little boot right there? Yeah, there's a pregnancy trope. I've noticed I kind of like that trope, but it depends how it's done. In this book, it was done perfectly. I didn't expect it to go the way that it went, but Winter is just such a relatable character. Like, she's honestly me, like so me. Some people might think that sounds like a red flag, but you have to read this book to understand her, and then you'll understand me. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me started on Theo, okay? I love that man with my whole heart. I need a Theo in real life. I need, like, seriously. I was just so connected to the characters in this book. I wasn't expecting that either. I don't know what I was expecting, but I heard so many good things about this book, so I know I was gonna love it, but I didn't think I was gonna love it as much as I do. I honestly think it is my favorite in the series, which is so surprising. Like, I definitely wasn't expecting to rate it 5 stars, and then I did. I seriously am so in love with the series. Their banter was just perfect. Everything was perfect. Anyway, we'll move on, but this was a 5 stars, and you need to read this, but you have to read the whole series first. So then I read My Roommate is a Vampire by Jenna Levin. This is a little rom-com about a girl who moves in with a vampire. They become roommates.
And they were roommates. God, they were roommates.
Her name's Cassie. She's getting evicted from her apartment and doesn't know what to do until she goes on Craigslist and sees this, was it like $300 or something insane? It was super cheap apartment listing in a really expensive area. It was just written very formally and she's like, what is this? This sounds sketchy. Like, yeah, girl, it's on Craigslist, but whatever. So obviously she's insane and goes and meets him, and he's just this like weird dude. His apartment and everything about him looks like it's from the 1800s. I gave this a 3 stars, which is not a bad rating for a rom-com. I feel like rom-coms are really, really hard to give 5 stars. A 3 stars for a rom-com is good. Like, I liked it. It was a good book. I enjoyed it. It was really funny. It was funny seeing Frederick try to navigate the modern world. Frederick is the vampire's name. I feel like I forgot to mention that. And just seeing Cassie try to help him navigate the modern world and fit in as a vampire was more interesting to me than the romance. Like, I would 100% read a book about Frederick. You know that trend that was like things that would send a Victorian child into a coma? Like, that's what I think about Frederick. Like, there's so many things that he could be shown that he might have a heart attack, honestly. Well, he's dead, so probably not. I just feel like the romance wasn't what I was most interested in, so that's why I couldn't rate it super high, because that's kind of the point. I really liked Frederick's character, not so much Cassie. And then the last book that I read in October was none other than Hopeless by Elsie Silver. This is the 5th and final book in the Chestnut Springs series, and this one is about our beloved Beau Eaton. He is the middle child of the Eatons. There's 3 boys, he's the middle one. He just has so much to unpack. Like, we were all ready for his book. We were all waiting. His character changes so much throughout the series. I didn't know what I was expecting. I ended up giving this a 4.5 stars. I loved Beau's character. I love to see his character development. Like, you see the way he changes so much through the book. That was so important. So important. If you read the series, you know. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to ruin his plot line or whatever, but dude's been through it. So it was nice to see him finally figure it out a little bit and be able to be happy. And then Bailey, who is the female main character, she has it rough also in Chestnut Springs. Her brothers are troublesome. You meet them in the first book and then you kind of see them pop up throughout the rest of them. They just cause so many issues, and they're so horrible to her, and then everybody in Chestnut Springs hates her because they hate her brothers. Every female character in this series stands up for themselves and becomes like a very independent woman, while the male main character lets them be that woman and like shine in the spotlight. And I love that. I feel like that's so important. Like, it's not a man trying to tame them down, you know what I mean? So I love that. This was an age gap, so I was kind of nervous to see how that went, because Bailey's like 22 and Beau is like 35 or something like that, so it's pretty big, but it didn't really seem like an issue to me. I didn't really care. I'm definitely sad the series is over because I loved it so much, but it has a special place in my heart. And Elsie Silver is an incredible romance writer. I definitely want to read some of her other books because this whole series, loved it. Loved it. Now we are getting into the November hopefuls. We've got some books on the TBR. Don't know which ones I'll get to. But the first book on the TBR is none other than Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. This is the second book in the Empyrean series. I think that's what it's called. Otherwise, other known as, what, AKA, what am I trying to say? AKA the second book after Fourth Wing. I'm so excited for this. This is the second book. We have so many questions. If you've read Fourth Wing, you know, you know. Don't want to ruin anything. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what happens. Comes out November 7th. I'm so ready. So that's definitely the top of the TBR. I will 100% be reading that this month for sure. Then we have The Gilded Cage by Lynette Noni. This is the second book after The Prison Healer, and I actually started reading this. I'm on page 83. I've just, like I said, been in kind of a reading slump, so I was trying to read. I wanted to like kind of go back to like romance, rom-coms a little bit. I'm going to jump back into this and hopefully finish it this month, because it wasn't that it was boring or anything. My brain couldn't comprehend, you know. I want to jump back into this series as well because the way the first book ended was very fun and made me really want to read this one to see what happens. Another book is Crooked Kingdom. I bring this book up in literally every video, I swear to God. But but I did start reading it more. I'm on page 225 now. I really need to get through it. This book's just a lot of brain power, and there's a lot of characters. Like, I know all the characters, but it's just a lot to remember. It's hopeful, okay? That's all we can say. That's really all we can say for her. And then we have Daisy Hates the Great Undoing. As you can tell, I'm trying to read series that I've been reading, and this is one of them because Magnolia Parks, I can't remember, Into the Dark, is that what it's called? Whatever, the next Magnolia Parks book comes out next year. So we need to finish this series, and this is the last one I have. As you can see, I do have a few pages tabbed because I'm on page 54. I did start reading it quite a while ago. The issue is that I'm not as interested in Daisy and Julian as Magnolia and BJ. And I feel like in this series you prefer one or the other usually. I kind of prefer Magnolia and BJ. They're like discussed, but it's not their point of view, you know? So then we have Little White Lies by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I actually picked this up not too long ago. Obviously I read the Natural series as you guys have seen, and I truly love that series. Like, I read it so fast and it is so good. So I decided to pick up her other series. I know she wrote the Inheritance Games, but I really don't feel like reading that. So this one, I don't know, there's like girls in ball gowns with scissors, a wrench, and handcuffs. Like, okay. Sawyer Taft did not expect her estranged grandmother to show up at her apartment door and offer her a 6-figure contract to participate in debutante season. I want to see if I like this one as well because her writing is just so fast-paced to me, so I'm kind of wanting to get to this, so I put it on the hopefuls. If any of you have read this, let me know if you liked it because I haven't really heard anyone talk about it before. Then we have Fuel the Fire by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is the next book in the Calloway Sisters series. The third book, I think, because I finished the Addicted series. So this is the next one, the 7th book out of all 10 of them. But this one is back to Rose and Connor, and I feel like I haven't read about them in literally forever because it literally feels like forever. But I am also filming a Calloway Sisters reading vlog, so I want to get back to that because obviously I haven't continued that since I read Hot House Flower, which was months ago. So I kind of want to get to this, and I'm excited to get back into the series. I just love these characters. So I put this on the TBR. Then we have Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I picked this up a few weeks ago because everyone's talking about it. I think it's getting brought to Barnes & Noble soon, but it's a fantasy series. I honestly don't really know what it's about. It's just like people compare, they're like, if you liked this book, then read this one. I just love the cover, like it's literally gorgeous. So I put it on the TBR because I love fantasies with a badass female main character, and people say that the female main character in this is just like that. I think it's like one of those books with like trials. I feel like every fantasy book has somebody going through trials. I don't know why, that's like the theme we have, but I'm here for it because I eat it up every time. So, and then the last book on my November hopefuls is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I read The Assassin's Blade literally last year. I think like last December. I read it so long ago, but I really liked it. Everyone's been reading Throne of Glass lately, and I keep getting Throne of Glass videos on my TikTok For You page and I don't understand them, and so I need to stop reading them because I'm probably ruining things for myself. But now that I think about it, I don't remember anything that I've seen because like I don't comprehend like what I'm looking at. This is the, however you read the book, like people read it in different ways, but for me this would be the second book, and I want to get to it because I do have the whole series because I'm insane. I read ACOTAR last October and it really changed my life. Like, it's what started my whole reading journey that I've been on, and it started me wanting a booktube channel. It kind of started everything. So jumping back into her world is so fun, and I want to read Crescent City, but everyone keeps telling me I need to read this first, so we need to read the series first. But those are all of the books that I read in October and the ones that I hope to get to in November. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any content from me. I'm hoping to post a little bit more as we get into the winter season. Bear with me. I love you all. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in my next one.